The following program is made possible with the support of Papa John's Pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza. With 5 locations in the Wilmington area, Papa John's Pizza. Better ingredients. Always had them, always will. Wilmington International Airport. Committed to a relaxed, enjoyable flying experience. Now offering daily nonstop flights to Charlotte, New York, and Philadelphia with American Airlines, and Atlanta with Delta. Details at flyilm.com. Ruby Tuesday at Monkey Junction, featuring uncompromising freshness and quality and gracious hospitality. Ruby Tuesday at Monkey Junction, the perfect place for your next casual dining experience. And PortCityDaily.com. You can do without the paper, but you can't do without the news. PortCityDaily.com is your online local news source for Wilmington and the surrounding Cape Fear region.
For the first time since 2009, the New Hanover High School football team will play in the 4A East Regional with a chance to get into the state finals up in Winston-Salem in a couple of weeks. Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Katz. Welcome to a fresh edition of Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school football across New Hanover County. We still have one Wilmington school left vying for a state championship this year. The New Hanover Wildcats defeated Durham Hillside in the third round of the state playoffs last week by a score of 52-15. It was all Wildcats from the opening kick. Trey Age with 4 touchdowns in the victory. The Wildcats rushed for a combined 280 yards on the ground. They forced 3 turnovers on the defensive end. They actually held an explosive Durham Hillside team to just 2 first downs in the entire game, the first of which came midway through the third quarter. So a big overall win for the New Hanover Wildcats. Their best overall performance this season, most complete game. They will take on J.H. Rose in the East Regionals coming up on Friday night at Legion Stadium. New Hanover coach Earl Smith joining us here on Sports Roundtable this evening. Once again, the lone Wilmington school alive in the football playoffs, coach. And as I kind of mentioned at the top, you couldn't ask for a more better performance overall from your team last week.
Absolutely. You know, it started with our offensive coordinator, Darryl Rayner, and our defensive coordinator, Tim Smith. I mean, they came up with some great game plans, both of them, and the team went out and executed perfectly.
Well, I mentioned 280 yards on the ground and following your team throughout the course of this season, now on a 10-game winning streak. With that said, I thought you had some great film study leading up to this game on the offensive end, understanding what you thought you could do against a Durham Hillside team that held Hoggard to 14 points, and that was late scores for the Vikings the week prior. Mostly due to the push up front. You said your offensive line has come a long way over the course of this season, and you put 280 yards on the ground. The guys in the trenches don't ever get enough credit. So now's the time to tip your cap to them.
Absolutely. We've got 5 seniors that started out the season: Tariq Speller, Andrew Melton, Tyler Hall, Gus Sonny, and Andrew Rouse. And through the season, Andrew and Gus both broke their fingers and were out 4 or 5 games at different times. L.J. Ballard, another junior that's a rotator, has been out injured, and those guys just stepped it up. And my hat's off to Jackson McKinney, another junior who was playing JV that we moved up and filled in for all 3 of them during the last 5 weeks. And I think Friday night was the first time we had them all back, and I can't say enough about the way they came off the football, run-wise and pass protection.
Well, one of those things I think that any good running back will always give the credit to his offensive line. And talking with Trey Age after the game, he scores 4 touchdowns, and he could easily say and point to himself and say, yeah, I had a great game. But the first thing he said was, yeah, we've got some guys healthy back on the offensive line, and it was probably their best game of the season as well.
Absolutely. Both he and Wisdom Vaughn both just gave us that extra effort and picked up 4 or 5 yards, after touch, and that's what we look for. The only negative I could see in the game was after watching it again, and I saw it during the game, is, Josiah Easton does a great job for us. He hit all his extra points, kicked a 38-yard field goal, and his kickoffs are, about half and half as far as going in the end zone. And, we've got to work on our kickoff coverage when it doesn't go in the end zone.
Well, for the most part, on the defensive end of the ball, I mean, you held an explosive Durham Hillside team to basically nothing. I mean, when you're holding them to 2 first downs throughout the course of a game, one big play that really, that put them on the board in the first half. But other than that, there was not much on the offensive end for Durham. That defense, even with Grant Daly, one of your linebackers, out with a broken leg, you had an offensive player filling in at linebacker for you. But you can't say much more about this Wildcats defense. You forced 3 turnovers. Ronnie Beatty gets another interception. Overall, just a heck of a game by your defensive team.
It starts just like the offensive line with our defensive front, and we've got 2 juniors and a senior in there rotating, Jemias Williams, Josh DeBlato, who's a senior, and Khalil. And the 3 of them they did the same thing on the opposite side. They were getting a push up front, and that freed up our linebackers and our outside linebackers. Jahan Simmons, who has been a wide receiver, we've been working him. We've been working some guys both ways for the last 6-7 weeks. And Jahan's actually been working at safety. And after the injury to Grant, we moved him to that inside backer, and he did a great job.
So really just the next man up, the way it's been all season. Your offensive line is healthy. You've got some depth at those positions along the offensive line. Your defense coming into form here late in the season, holding a great Hillside team to just 15 points on the board. And really, those points where you were way out in front already and had the game kind of secured. You even get a little trickery in with a little reverse pass. Wiz Vaughn gets a 40-yard touchdown pass to Lamont Howard. Burke Estes in the quarterback position showing great presence in the pocket. So as the season has moved on into this second season throughout the playoff run, you've come off the bus this time. I know the frustration against the West Johnston in the win, 24-17, was that you were kind of flat off the opening kick, and it took you to the fourth quarter to get going. This time there was nothing said that right from the opening kick, you guys were ready to play on Friday night.
Well, they were, and I hope we talked about this a little bit, after the game about making sure that they handle success. And, we're talking about teenagers, and sometimes it just, they feel pretty good about themselves. And I'm big on the difference between confidence and cockiness, and they know that.
Well, 52 points on the board. Trey Age had 4 touchdowns. We're here with New Hanover head football coach Earl Smith. We'll take a quick break here on Sports Roundtable. We'll get to those game highlights from the 52-14 Durham Hillside victory right after this.
I'm open! Shoot it, Cassie! Shoot it!
There's a better way to have fun with history.
It's okay, Amelia.
Visit americaslibrary.gov. Log on, play around, learn something.
On 3. 1. Yes!
Hey, high school football fans, welcome back to Sports Roundtable as we continue with our weekly look at high school football across New Hanover County. Talking with New Hanover head football coach Earl Smith following the Wildcats' 52-15 win over Durham Hillside. And Coach, as we get to some of these game highlights, as I mentioned on the defensive end, you hold them to 2 first downs throughout the game. I think it was 160 yards of total offense. They had a lot of explosive talent on the offensive end, Durham. And with that said, you kind of just stuck them right in the mud, and they couldn't get going offensively.
Yeah, the thing that Coach Smith, Tim Smith, has done with our defense, we've kept it simple. And we've improved every week on our tackling and our reading. And it's really a simple defense. And we let the guys, use our talent where we need to. And they're flying around, they're playing aggressive, making things happen. The 3-0 turnover ratio was big. And anytime you can get that means you got a chance to win the football game.
Yeah, 3 turnovers in that ball game, interceptions from Ronnie Beatty and Freddie Taylor. As we take a look at some of these game highlights, Coach wants to take us through these set of plays.
Yeah, big push up front. Actually there was Jahan Simmons right there making the first tackle as a linebacker.
Durham, a team with a lot of size on the offensive
size, huge offensive line, and again they had 5 or 6 D1 prospects across the board, receivers, the running back there. Again, good pursuit. There's Nas Brown, a sophomore linebacker who just keeps continuing to play well. Here's one of Trey's runs. Again, he's doing such a good job of reading his blocks and then getting yardage after contact. Here he is for a score. Good pressure there by the front.
I'm liking about this defense is you got tacklers swarming to the ball after that initial contact.
Yep. Nice swing, flat pass here. Good downfield blocking right there. Trey. Jet sweep there to Wiz. Wiz did a great job cutting. And again, look at the second effort there. It's nice having him, you know, he's come through this year as a sophomore. 38-yard field goal here by Josiah. Gives us a 10-0 lead. Just, you know, this type of weapon in the playoffs is unbelievable, and it's nice to have.
And that kick had plenty of distance on it, too.
He's kicked 50-yarders in practice. Again, great pursuit by the whole defense. Just swarming like we like. And good blocks downfield. Wisdom on another great run. Little tip there, and Garrett in position to get it and get us in the first down position.
When things are going your way, things are going your way.
Yeah, we're moving them up front pretty good. Real proud of our guys. And, you know, they got off the bus. It's like, whoa, these guys are. I mean, you know what their sizes are until you see them in person. They're the biggest team we've seen all year. Good pressure there on the quarterback.
You're talking about guys 250, 260, 270 pounds on that offensive line for Hillside.
Here's a great call by Darrell. We've worked on this where we do a read option with Burke, and he gets the first down.
Good job by the quarterback there to slide and avoid the avoid the contact.
Yeah, we'll get him hurt. Great pressure there by Isaiah. Running gets his pick. I think it's right before the half.
He's got like six
picks
in the last 7 games or so.
Yes. Trey again. It's a great second effort. And again, Trey.
19-yard run there from Trey H.
Good job there by Isaiah Crawford, one of our ends, and K-Twan Hill, the other end. Collapsed, both of them collapsed on him at the same time.
It's one of those things I think I noticed with your running backs. Not the biggest guys out there, but the effort they put in. It takes 1, 2, 3 tacklers to bring them down to the ground.
Exactly. I tell you, Javion came in. He's a junior, more of a true running back, and he did well during the game also. He's just a junior. Good blitz there by Nas, makes a solo tackle. Again, you know, Coach does a good job of picking and choosing his blitzes. Here's a little reverse pass from Wisdom to Lamont.
An easy touchdown there on a little trickery late in the game, Coach. And I know you probably might have, wanted to save that play maybe for a time that you would have needed it with that, big lead already. But with that said, it's good to get another guy in the scoring column for you.
I let Coach Rayner, call the offense. I try not to pull the reins back on him too much.
Well, you put up 52 points against a quality defense in Durham, but the things that I see the most from you is, again, the guys running with yards after contact, your running backs, and just the overall speed. While they were big up front on the offensive line side, the speed that you guys possess at the linebacker position with, Nigel Hines, Nas Brown, and then you got those big defensive linemen that, you're pretty tough to defend.
Absolutely. The leadership key is key also. We've got a lot of our senior offense as far as our linemen and Garrett and Burke. But defensively, we're pretty young, even though our secondary is seniors. But like Nigel was picked as a captain as a sophomore because he provides great leadership during the week, during practice. Same thing with Nas. I mean, you've got two sophomores there that are acting like seniors. So it's nice to have that in each class.
Yeah, it's great to see the the maturation of these football players from day one on the defensive end now to where they are, one win away from clinching a spot in the 4A state championship. We'll take our final break. We also have a great highlight reel at PortCityDaily.com today from the New Hanover win over Durham Hillside. Just log on to PortCityDaily.com, look for the highlight reel, and you'll see plenty of big plays from the New Hanover Wildcats following that victory over Durham Hillside. New Hanover has the 2 seed in the 4A bracket, and they will play J.H. Rose in the 4A Eastern Regional Finals coming up on Friday night at Legion Stadium. We'll preview that game with Coach Earl Smith right after this quick break. Thanks again for watching.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Roundtable as we continue our conversation with New Hanover coach Earl Smith. Already recapped the game against Durham Hillside to send them into the 4A East Regionals, and now they will face a tall task. They will get another home game, however, as the 2 seed in the 4A bracket as the Wildcats get ready to take on J.H. Rose. The Rampants, actually a former Mid-Eastern Conference foe of New Hanover over the years, but due to conference realignment, now J.H. Rose in a different league, obviously, but coming off a huge win over D.H. Conley, 49-47. J.H. Rose averaging 48 points per game this season. And, Coach, they did play Laney early in the year, so I don't know how much you could take from that game, but I'm sure the film study is already underway for this ball game. And what do you see maybe from J.H. Rose that is going to give you guys some problems coming up on Friday?
Absolutely. Their wide receiver Powell, who we actually played them last year in the first round, and he single-handedly gave us a lot of problems. And it's not just him, but they have quite a few receivers, just like we do, that can go the distance. And they're a big play team. I mean, you can't give up the big play, number one, and they control the football. And that's something hopefully we can get some 3rd and longs with our defense and put us in a situation where it's not eating up all that clock when they don't have a big play.
On the offensive end, he kind of spit and sputtered through the game against West Johnston, but firing on all cylinders, obviously, this past Friday night. So trying to keep it business as usual on the offensive end, not going to change up too much on the offensive side.
No, we just, we'll make, Daryl Rayner, our defense coordinator, does a good job of evaluating. We have a set plays that we run every week, and then, we add a few or maybe delete a few. But I think the key, the good thing is we've got all of our offensive linemen back, and having Gus back at our left tackle anchor and Andrew Rouse at our right tackle, that really helps us out a lot and brings us with depth with the young men that we brought up with Jackson McKinney. We can play him at any position. L.J. Ballard can play at any position. But I think, again, it's going to come down to the defense and offensive fronts and the turnover ratio.
Well, we thought this game against Durham Hillside was going to be a high-scoring affair. You put up 52. They only had 15. So with that said, mission accomplished. Taking on a J.H. Rose team, again, that filled with talent on the offensive end. So hopefully, you put some points on the board and let the defense do what they've been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. They're, we've talked about all year about the defense playing together as a team, and we just can't have one guy take a break here or there. And that's what was so great about Friday night. We played a complete game. We're going to need it again this week. New
Hanover head football coach Earl Smith. Coach, good luck this Friday. I'll be at the game and look forward to watching the Wildcats possibly advance to the state championship.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, we'll take one last break here on Sports Roundtable. We'll catch up with Hoggard head basketball coach Brett Queen as the New Hanover football team gets ready for their 4A East Regional matchup against J.H. Rose coming up at Jurgensen Gabriel Field, Legion Stadium, Friday night, kickoff at 7:30. Up next, Hoggard head basketball coach Brett Queen right after this quick break. Hey, high school sports fans, welcome back to Sports Roundtable as we continue our conversation covering all realms of sporting news this week across New Hanover County. Thanks again to New Hanover head football coach Earl Smith for stopping by to recap the game against Durham Hillside and then obviously preview this 4A East Regional contest going on Friday night at Legion Stadium as New Hanover will take on J.H. Rose with a chance to clinch a spot in the 4A state championship game in Winston-Salem in a couple of weeks. Moving on to high school basketball, season is underway. We're through the Thanksgiving holiday, so now we get into the real thick of the non-conference schedule and looking ahead to Christmas time. The 22nd annual Leon Brogdon Holiday Basketball Tournament will return to UNCW, and Hoggard head basketball coach Brett Queen going to join us now to preview that great event that we host each and every year on the campus of UNCW. And Coach, a little shift in the dates the dates at least. It'll be the 28th through the 30th of December this year, as compared to the couple days leading up to after Christmas, which was traditionally held until. So what maybe went into the change of the dates, and how's the tournament been set up so far this year?
Well, it really just depends on when Christmas falls, and since Christmas falls on a Friday this year, we can't play on Sundays. So anytime we can avoid having that day in the middle of the tournament where we don't do anything, it helps. And so it just shifts it to the following Monday, and so it'll be Monday the 28th through Wednesday the 30th. A little bit of change in some times on that first day. UNCW has home basketball games on both the 28th and the 30th. And so on the 28th, we're going to have to start games at 11 o'clock in the morning. We'll play at 11, 12:30, 2 o'clock, and 3:30 on that first day in both Trask Coliseum and Hanover Hall in the back of Trask Coliseum. And then on the second and third days, it'll be 6 games in Trask and then 2 games in Hanover.
So a little bit of a change here, a little wrinkle here, obviously with the UNCW playing those home games at Trask this season. With that said, the teams are all set up. Obviously, the 4 Wilmington schools in it, Ashley, Hoggard, Laney, and New Hanover, both boys and girls will play. Who will be the teams that will be facing this year in the bracket?
On the girls' side, we got 3 teams from South Carolina: Socastee High School, West Florence, and Conway. Okay. And then Andrews High School from High Point is coming. 4 traditionally pretty good programs on the girls' side. On the boys' side, we've got Somerville, South Carolina. One of their assistant coaches used to be the JV coach at Laney, David Long, and so bringing their team back here. We actually played against them one time in a tournament down in North Myrtle Beach, and it's a really good program. And then T.C. Williams High School from Alexandria, Virginia. Remember the Titans fame. People will recognize that name. Roger Bacon High School from Cincinnati, Ohio, not the one in Brunswick County, but from Cincinnati, coming down, and then Cary High School, which was the team we beat in the second round of the playoffs in double overtime last year, and they've got their entire team back. They've already beaten Garner and Broughton on back-to-back nights already this year, and they'll be one of the top teams in North Carolina. So we've got a good field coming in from out of town.
There's always good competition that you're able to bring from out of town into this event now in its 22nd year. Coach, how do you go about inviting some of these teams, or is it kind of they call you, or how does that contact go?
Well, a lot of it is them reaching out to us. People have enjoyed coming to our tournament, the ones that have been, and so they talk about it, and other people hear about it, and they contact us. And usually we have more people that want to come than we have spots for, and so the coaches just help to select the teams that want to come. Usually the girls' coaches sort of manage the girls' side of that, and then the boys' coaches manage the boys' side. And we've never been in a situation where we were scrambling around trying to find people that wanted to come to the tournament. People like to come.
You're going to have a busy week, because I know right after Christmas, I believe you head down to North Myrtle Beach for the Christmas by the Sea.
We're actually going before Christmas to
Christmas.
that. Yeah, the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of Christmas week we'll be down in North Myrtle Beach, and then come back and play in the Brogdon after the holiday.
The season just getting underway, obviously, but there's always a lot of excitement for this Brogdon holiday tournament. How has it changed maybe since the first time you took part in the event, or 22 years? There's been a lot of shifts and changes throughout the course of that time. What are some of those changes that have occurred?
Yeah, well, when I first started working at Hoggard as an assistant coach back in 1996, the tournament was at UNCW, and it was a big deal. And then shortly thereafter, it was actually the year before I took over as the head coach, we played at Ashley one year, and then we played several years at New Hanover. Right. And then this is I think the 6th year that we've been back at UNCW. And it just, being at UNCW, giving the kids a chance to play on a college court, play on a neutral site, it just adds some excitement to the tournament. Adding the girls in has been a positive thing for the tournament as well. And this year we've had some people really step up and help us out as far as sponsorships and people just helping us out with the fundraising. And Stevenson Automotive is going to be the title sponsor for the tournament this year. And it was just been good to see some people from the community step up to help us out, and so that we can continue to have this event year after year.
Like you said, a lot of out-of-town teams coming here and getting a great experience, being able to play at UNCW, and then get to enjoy what should be decent weather here, coming from places like Ohio, getting a good break. How do fans and supporters get more information about the Brogdon tournament, possibly about tickets and whatnot?
Well, we will. We're going to actually be able to sell some tickets online this year on the website, and we're working on getting all of that set up. And so once we do that, we will get the information to the schools and have the schools sort of advertise and get the media outlets and everything to advertise where they can go to buy the tickets for the tournament. And then obviously we'll sell them on the day of the tournament as well. You'll be able to buy a tournament pass for all 3 days, or you can buy daily passes as well.
It's always a great 3-day holiday basketball tournament that the New Hanover County schools kind of put on, the 4 Wilmington schools. And as you get excited for that event, there's obviously a lot of basketball to be played before the end of December. You're just starting the year off. You get through Thanksgiving now. You can really focus in on the next couple of weeks of basketball for your team. The Hoggard Vikings coming off a good run to the Mid-Eastern Conference Tournament Championship last year, missing a couple of scoring pieces this season, but quickly just running it down what your Vikings team looks like. Who we got this year?
Well, we've got 9 guys back from last year's team and 4 starters, but the one starter that we're missing did a whole lot for us last year, and so we're still trying to figure all that out. And our football guys played into the second round of the playoffs, and so those guys missed 3 weeks of practice, and it's just trying to get them up to speed, and that takes some time. And we've got a tough schedule, so there's not any easy nights, and it's actually how we do here is going to affect the Brogdon tournament as well. We decided this year to wait until after some teams had played games, and we're going to use the Max Preps rankings to try to seed the tournament a little bit better on the first day, so that we're not just drawing names out of a hat. And we've had some situations in the last few years where the best teams in the tournament were playing each other on the first day, and we just want to try to make sure that doesn't happen. So I think all the schools in the county are playing some challenging non-conference schedules, and but this is the time of the year where you try to figure out who you are, and each team is different from year to year. So even though we've got a lot of pieces back, it's still different because of the one piece that we are trying to replace. So.
Is the Hoggard basketball coach, Brett Queen, previewing the 22nd annual Leon Brogdon Holiday Basketball Tournament. Coach, thanks for stopping by, and I know I'll be talking with you real soon on Sports Roundtable as we shift gears from football to basketball season here over the next couple of weeks.
Yep, sounds good.
It's Hoggard head coach Brett Queen here on Sports Roundtable. That'll do it for our latest edition of the show. Again, good luck to the New Hanover Wildcats, who will play in the 4A East Regional Football Contest coming up on Friday night, and then looking forward to high school basketball season, which is already underway across the state. Until next time, we'll send it out here. I'm Joe Katz from PortCityDaily.com, and thanks for joining the show.